Have you ever been in a situation where you felt frustrated, angry, and helpless all the time? Have you noticed how every single action around you, even the smallest of things, triggers your emotions? Have you felt uncertain about opening up and sharing your problems with your parents or your best friend due to the fear of judgment? Well, I have. We live in a world that spends too much time picking at flaws and igniting anger and fear in people. I had a rigid mindset that people around me would not understand my situation, thus would judge me badly for it. I kept quiet and didn't share my problem with anyone. I soon became irritable and difficult to be around. Thankfully, one of my best friends noticed my change in behavior. He helped me come to terms with it and move past those feelings. He made me realize that sharing my problems not only reduced the burden that I carried for so long, but it also portrayed how much faith and trust I had in him. It indirectly strengthened our bond. I saw that sometimes receiving empathy can act as a balm to all those emotions that tend to run wild. That instance helped me lead a more fulfilling and healthier life. Being able to practice empathy is one of the most important skills that one can learn. The word in itself means putting yourself in another's shoes, being aware of and sensitive to their feelings in order to help them get through it. Opening up emotionally is an incredibly brave and difficult thing to do, but it deepens the connection with another person. Empathy is a two-way street. It's about sharing vulnerabilities and an emotional connection. To truly practice empathy, one has to share their own inner landscape with someone else while the other person reciprocates. This doesn't mean that an individual has to share their deepest, darkest secrets with every person that he meets. Every single person gets to decide who they share their feelings with, whether or not they share their feelings in the first place. Now imagine that you've built up the courage to talk to someone about your issues, but in the end, it doesn't really help you because the response you received from that person wasn't what you needed. That happening can shatter a person completely from within because pity is the last thing that a mentally and emotionally troubled person wants. Pity, sympathy, judgment. These are emotions that unconsciously come out due to our human nature. It can be really hard to withhold immediate judgment, especially when first meeting or interacting with someone. And yet, withholding judgment is a crucial step towards being empathetic. Try to gain a deeper understanding of someone else's perspective without immediately saying that it is bad or good. Try putting yourself in their situation and apprehending their feelings. But don't get too carried away. That happens many times, when our imaginations run wild and instead of putting ourselves in their situations, we bring up instances from our past when something similar happened and start narrating that and giving tips on how to deal with the issue, how we dealt with it. What we do not realize is that the opposite person doesn't want any of that. He couldn't care less. He didn't ask for advice on a situation that, though similar in some aspects, is still vastly different from what he is going through. One cannot even begin to comprehend the state of mind of another human being because we all deal with our problems in our own unique ways. A particular individual may be an emotionally strong person, capable of handling difficult situations. But that doesn't mean that those around him are the same. It may be that the problem, according to one person, is petty or so in the past that he thinks that no one should really worry about it anymore. It is possible that one may mentally judge the person for becoming so depressed over something that isn't actually a problem in their opinion. And because making snap judgments is a fundamental aspect of being human, it's only natural that all our actions from that point on will be based on what our initial mindset about the issue was. Judgment is this innate mechanism that can be very hard to override, but it can be reined in. You can try to listen to a person without any mental diversions, meaning giving him your complete and undivided attention so that he knows and sees that you actually care about what he is going through. Openly portraying our own emotions regarding the issue can really help the other person see that he is of importance to you. Speaking up is an act of courage and compassion, as by doing that, one can directly tell another person that they will be there for them as and when needed. We can help assure the opposite person of our presence by demonstrating that we understand their emotional state and by helping them figure out a behavioral pattern that will help them move forward. Be genuine. Try to express how you feel towards that person. Sometimes people are only motivated to reach out and help others after they themselves have been through it. But an individual doesn't have to wait for a tsunami to hit them before lending a hand to a drowning person who is desperately trying to reach out. We can take our time to analyze our own prejudices and remember that just because we ourselves firmly believe in something doesn't always mean that that thing is going to be right. I have always considered myself to be a fairly intuitive person, and I generally do not judge the actions of anyone solely based on their first impression. If I do not understand the actions of a person, then I ask them candidly or try to comprehend why they would behave that way. Through the years, this particular trait has come in handy more than once. I slowly learned that just because someone is laughing all the time doesn't mean that he isn't going through any problems. I saw that somehow my actions made people trust me and share their problems with me. A few straight up came up to me and told me that I am easy to talk to because I don't judge no matter what the person says he's done. What you want from others first has to be given. So if you want people to not throw pitying glances in your direction when you are mentally troubled, then you have to make sure that you don't do the same to anyone else. You never know what kind of demons a person is fighting, so you have to ensure that your words never hurt anyone. If you make conscious efforts, it is possible that you unknowingly can help someone in a grave time of need. Be alert to the emotions of your near and dear ones. Think before making a comment on someone. If someone indicates towards themselves going through a hard time, then don't just disregard the person. Try talking to him and make it clear that you care about the happenings of his life. I search for things that I share in common with the person whom I may have previously labeled, and then I use that commonality to forge a deeper bond. I was told that just offering the opportunity to help can be counted as an empathetic gesture. If you see that your friend is troubled, you can simply tell him that if he needs anything, he can just ask, thus opening up the way for providing help and support. It's really easy to just let someone be, but extremely difficult to break down walls and genuinely help a person in need. Sympathy comes naturally, whereas empathy requires time and effort, but both have the power to drastically change a person's life. The change can be negative or positive. So in the end, the decision of helping could rest in your hands. And at that time, just think of what you would want from somebody if you were stuck in that situation. Would you want sympathy that could possibly tear you in half? Or would you want empathy, wherein your burden would be shared, thus lessened. Empathy in place of sympathy can go a long way. Give it a thought.